Stoic rules to emotionally free yourself from someone. Have you ever found yourself trapped in an endless cycle of thoughts, trying desperately to move on from someone who made a significant impact on your life? What if I told you there is an ancient method, tested over centuries, that can free you from this vicious cycle? No, I'm not talking about cheap self-help or magic formulas. I'm talking about something deep that goes straight to the point: Stoicism. In this video, we will explore the 8 Stoic rules to achieve true emotional freedom. Get ready for a profound transformation, because this journey is not for the faint-hearted, but the results. Oh, the results can change your life. Without further ado, let's get to it. Imagine holding a handful of sand on the beach. The more we squeeze, the more it slips through our fingers, right? Similarly, the more we cling to emotions and people, the more we lose our peace of mind. This is where Stoicism comes in, teaching us to look inward, to recognize our own strengths and weaknesses, and to understand that sometimes letting go is the same as becoming stronger. Have you ever wondered what is truly within your control? Think about it. The answers to emotional freedom, to breaking free from the chains of attachment, are right there in your choices and in your ability to accept what cannot be changed. Now imagine yourself on the beach, observing the vast ocean in front of you. The waves come and go with a force and rhythm that are both challenging and inspiring. Now think of detachment as the ability to surf these waves. It's not about avoiding the waves or denying their strength, but about learning to navigate them with skill and confidence. Detachment, often misunderstood as a lack of care or emotional distance, is actually a state of healthy emotional balance. It's about the freedom of not being controlled by life's ups and downs, but rather responding to them with serenity and wisdom. Now, in the first rule, ask yourself, how many times have I felt at the mercy of circumstances, automatically reacting to every situation with stress or anxiety? The practice of detachment invites us to break this automatic cycle. It allows us to see situations from a new perspective, one where we have the power to choose our response instead of being chosen by our impulsive reactions. In our daily journey, by practicing detachment, we open space for more joy and less suffering. We learn to accept losses and victories with grace, to face adversities with courage, and to receive each moment with gratitude. It's an invitation to live fully without being bound by unrealistic expectations or the heavy burdens of the past. So how can we begin to practice this transformative detachment? Start by observing your reactions to challenges. Acknowledge your emotions, but do not let them dominate you. Imagine yourself as a skilled surfer who, instead of fearing the wave, learns to ride it with mastery and pleasure. And so, by practicing detachment, we do not become cold or indifferent. We become masters of our own lives, capable of finding peace and happiness no matter how strong the wave we face. This is the true power of detachment. And are you ready to grab your board and surf the waves of your life? Second rule, understanding attachment. Have you ever felt like you were constantly giving energy to something that, in the end, only drained you? This is the nature of attachment. Often without realizing it, we become attached to people, situations, or even objects that suck our vitality and peace like an emotional tick that clings and won't let go. Understanding attachment is the first step to recognizing how it might be operating in your life, preventing you from cultivating genuine self-love and living with true freedom. Attachment is not just a harmless bond. It has the power to distort our perception of ourselves and what is truly valuable. Think of the times when you felt unable to walk away from a relationship even though you knew it wasn't beneficial. Or those times when excessive concern about others' opinions shaped your actions. These are clear signs of attachment. So how can we begin to disentangle ourselves from these attachments? The process begins with awareness. Recognize where and to whom you are giving your power. Questioning yourself is fundamental. Does this add value to me? Does this make me feel good about myself? Am I respecting myself in this relationship? Freeing yourself from attachment is an act of courage. It requires facing yourself with honesty and being willing to make sometimes uncomfortable changes for the sake of your emotional health. But in doing so, you pave the way for a more authentic and fulfilling life where true self-love can flourish. I encourage you to look within and do an emotional cleanse. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough about your own peace not to allow external factors to dictate your worth. This is the true meaning of prioritizing your emotional health. Third rule, the illusion of the ego. How many times have you found yourself measuring your worth by comparisons or the approval of others? This is the ego in action, an entity thirsty for external validation that pushes us into an endless cycle of comparison and competition. However, it's crucial to understand that the ego operates through illusions that distort our true essence. The ego makes us believe that we are our achievements, our possessions, or the images we project to the world. But does this really define who we are? By allowing the ego to guide our lives, we get lost in a sea of illusions where authenticity is sacrificed for an incessant pursuit of approval. To begin disentangling from the clutches of the ego, a moment of deep introspection is necessary. Ask yourself, what truly defines my value? It's time to stop looking outward and start looking inward. Recognize that the illusions of the ego are like distorted mirrors that never reflect your true image. Focusing on your true essence means abandoning these empty illusions and rediscovering your authentic identity that doesn't depend on approvals or comparisons. It's a liberating process that opens space for a richer and more meaningful life. Therefore, I challenge you to let go of the weight of external expectations and cultivate a more honest and loving relationship with yourself. In doing so, you will not only find the freedom to be who you truly are, but also experience a fuller and more genuine life. Imagine yourself free from these invisible chains, capable of living according to your own terms, respecting and valuing your uniqueness. This is the path to an authentic life, far from the illusions of the ego. Fourth rule, detachment in practice. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack full of items you no longer use. With each step, the weight increases, making your walk slower and more tiring. Now think of detachment as the act of emptying this backpack, letting go of each item that no longer serves you, freeing up space and lightening your load. This is detachment in practice, a conscious release of what no longer contributes to your journey. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting the lessons it brought, but rather not allowing the pains and regrets of the past to dictate how you live in the present. Each moment offers a new opportunity to act according to your essence, without the chains of previous experiences. How can we begin to practice this transformative detachment? Start by identifying what in your life represents these unnecessary weights. Are they relationships that no longer bring growth? Are they memories that hurt more than they help? Or perhaps old expectations of who you should be? By recognizing these burdens, give yourself permission to let them go. This can be done through small symbolic rituals, such as writing a letter that will never be sent, or reorganizing a physical space that represents an old part of your life. Each action that symbolizes letting go reinforces your ability to fully live in the now. Living in the present is a revolutionary act. It is there that true emotional freedom flourishes, when we are no longer held captive by what if and should have. Ask yourself daily, what is truly important to me at this moment? This simple question can guide you to a more authentic and free life. By practicing detachment, you not only free yourself, but also open space for new experiences and people who resonate with who you are now. It's like taking a deep breath after being submerged for a long time, refreshing and essential. Fifth rule, the path to happiness. Imagine your happiness as a secret garden within you, a place that only you can cultivate and nurture. This garden does not flourish based on what happens around you, but rather on what you decide to plant and care for within it. Happiness, then, is much more a process of self-acceptance and personal growth than a pursuit of something external. Each small act of self-love is like watering this garden. It could be something as simple as dedicating a few moments of the day to doing something you truly love, setting healthy boundaries in your relationships, or practicing gratitude daily. These practices, although small, are powerful and reinforce your inner connection, allowing your happiness to naturally bloom. Have you ever thought that happiness could be more about removing things than adding? Removing self-criticism, unrealistic expectations, useless comparisons. It's like pulling out the weeds that threaten to choke your inner garden. By clearing space, you allow your true qualities to flourish. Cultivating happiness also means learning to accept and appreciate who you are now, not who you could be or who you were before. Each stage of your life brings its own beauty, like seasons that change and bring new kinds of flowers to your garden. Accepting this is to embrace a happiness that is sincere and deeply rooted. So I encourage you to consider each day as a new opportunity to cultivate your inner garden. Ask yourself, what does my garden need today? Perhaps more light through a shared smile, or maybe more rest by allowing yourself a well-deserved break. Whatever it is, remember that the most important thing is that you are in charge of your cultivation. Sixth rule, control of perceptions. Consider for a moment that reality itself has no color. It's like a black and white movie, and we are the ones who paint each scene with our emotions and biases. The way we perceive the world around us can transform a simple occurrence into a source of joy or suffering. This is the essence of controlling perceptions. The Stoics teach us a valuable lesson. It is not external events that disturb our peace, but rather the judgments we make about them. If we can learn to see situations objectively without the emotional charge that we often attach to them, we gain a powerful tool to maintain our emotional balance. How can we then train our minds for this objectivity? It begins with awareness. Whenever you find yourself reacting strongly to an event, pause. Ask yourself, am I seeing this as it really is? Or am I adding my own stories and fears to this situation? This simple question can help you distance yourself from your automatic feelings and see more clearly. Another technique is deliberate detachment. When we face challenges, we tend to personalize the experience, which intensifies our suffering. By practicing detachment, we remind ourselves that most situations are temporary and that our essence is not defined by them. This doesn't mean being indifferent, but rather being centered and conscious. The practice of visualizing different outcomes can also be helpful. Before reacting, imagine several possible results and how you could handle each one. This prepares the mind to deal with reality more calmly and calculatedly, reducing the tendency to be overwhelmed by intense emotions. Seventh rule, acceptance of fate, amor fati. Amor fati, or love of fate, is a Stoic principle that challenges us to accept and embrace every aspect of life, not just the pleasant parts. Imagine each event, whether positive or negative, as an essential piece of the puzzle of your existence. By accepting fate not as resignation, but as an affirmation of life, you transform every experience into an opportunity for growth. This powerful acceptance frees us from resisting what already is, allowing us to extract lessons even from the most challenging situations. Think of an obstacle you recently faced. Now imagine facing that same obstacle with an amor fati perspective. How could this transform your experience? Instead of a blockade, it becomes a step, a chance to evolve and expand your horizons. Practicing amor fati does not mean liking everything that happens, but rather choosing to love life in all its forms, trusting that everything serves a greater purpose. This love of fate is therefore an emotional superpower. It endows us with extraordinary resilience, allowing us to face life's storms with serenity and courage. And how can we start incorporating amor fati into our daily lives? Start with small steps. When something doesn't go as planned, instead of getting frustrated, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Every setback is a disguised master, and by embracing them, we open the doors to profound transformations. Eighth rule, the practice of virtue. Imagine your life as a strong and stable building where each virtue is a pillar that supports it. Wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance are not just distant ideals. They are daily practices that nourish the soul and strengthen our character. This is the essence of the practice of virtue, a continuous journey that guides us to true happiness. Wisdom teaches us to navigate the complexity of the world with clarity and discernment. Justice guides us to treat others with fairness and to seek the common good. Courage allows us to face challenges with bravery without succumbing to fear. And temperance helps us to keep our impulses in balance, promoting a harmonious life. Each of these virtues is like fuel for the soul. When we practice them, we are not only improving ourselves, but also positively influencing the world around us. Imagine the impact if everyone decided to live according to these pillars. It wouldn't just be an individual change, but a collective transformation. How can you cultivate these virtues in your own life? Start by reflecting on your daily actions. Are they aligned with these principles? Where can you improve? The practice of virtue is a constant exercise of self-evaluation and commitment to personal growth. It's not about perfection, but about progress. Each small step towards virtue is a victory over our less noble tendencies, and each virtuous choice increases our capacity to experience a deeper and more lasting joy. Now that you've learned about the 8 Stoic rules, the next step is yours. I invite you to put these teachings into practice and begin a true journey of self-discovery. Imagine the transformation that can occur in your life by applying these rules and finally achieving the emotional freedom you so desire. Remember, these are not just words. Stoicism offers a practical and powerful way to transform your relationship with your feelings and your relationships. If you commit to this change, you can achieve an emotionally balanced life where inner peace is constant, no matter what happens around you. So, if you're ready for this profound transformation, start today. And to keep receiving more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications to make sure you don't miss any videos about Stoicism and personal development. See you in the next video, where we will continue exploring paths to a fuller and more balanced life. Until then, remember, true change begins within you.